The ship Wanderer moved slowly through the darkness of space toward the blue and green planet ahead. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the planet grow larger on the main screen. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. They had been traveling for 12 years to reach this place. 10,000 people slept in the ship's cargo holds, waiting to start new lives on this world they called New Haven. "We're almost there, Captain," said First Officer Ryan Beck. He was a tall man with gray hair who had served with Jake for many years. "The planet looks perfect from here." Jake nodded and smiled. After 12 long years of traveling through empty space, they had finally reached their new home. The planet looked beautiful. It had blue oceans and green lands, just like Earth. White clouds moved across its surface. This was what they had dreamed of during all those years in space. Dr. Lisa Park, the ship's science officer, looked up from her computer screen. She was a small woman with dark hair who knew more about planets than anyone else on the ship. "Captain, I'm getting good readings from the planet. The air is safe to breathe. There's fresh water everywhere. The soil looks rich and perfect for growing food." "That's wonderful news, Lisa," Jake said. He felt relief wash over him. They had traveled so far based on old data from robot ships. There had always been a chance that the planet would not be suitable for human life. "How long before we can start landing people?" "Give me another hour to finish the scans," Lisa replied. "Then we can begin sending down the first teams." Jake walked to the ship's communication system. He pressed a button that would wake up all the sleeping colonists. His voice echoed through the ship's halls and sleeping areas. "This is Captain Morrison. We have arrived at New Haven. The planet looks perfect for our new colony. Please prepare for landing procedures." Throughout the ship, 10,000 people began to wake up from their long sleep. They had left Earth 12 years ago, hoping to find a better life among the stars. Earth had become crowded and polluted. Resources were running low. These colonists were brave enough to leave everything they knew behind to start fresh on a new world. Jake watched as the planet filled more of the screen. He could see mountains and rivers and vast green forests. It looked like paradise. After spending 12 years in the cold metal halls of the ship, the thought of walking on real ground under an open sky made him happy. "Captain," Ryan said, pointing at his instruments, "I'm picking up something strange." Jake turned to look at Ryan's screen. There were bright spots of light on the planet's surface. They were too big and too bright to be natural. "What am I looking at, Ryan?" "Energy signatures," Ryan said, his face becoming serious. "Very large ones. These readings are much stronger than anything we humans can make." Dr. Park looked up from her station with worry in her eyes. "Captain, I'm seeing the same thing. These energy sources are enormous. They're coming from structures on the planet's surface." Jake felt his heart sink. The beautiful planet on the screen suddenly looked different. Those lights meant only one thing. The planet is already inhabited. "Yes, sir," Lisa said quietly. "And whoever lives there has technology that is much more advanced than ours." The bridge became quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Jake stared at the planet that was supposed to be their new home. The colonists were waking up, excited to start their new lives. But now everything had changed. "How advanced are we talking about?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her instruments again. "The energy readings suggest technology that is centuries ahead of ours. The structures I'm seeing are bigger than any city on Earth. Some of them are floating in the air without any visible support." Commander Alex Stone entered the bridge. He was the ship's diplomatic officer, trained to handle first contact with alien species. "Captain, I heard the announcement." "What's our situation?" Jake pointed to the screen. "The planet is inhabited by beings with very advanced technology. We need to make contact with them." Alex nodded. "I'll prepare a diplomatic team. We should approach them carefully and respectfully. This is humanity's first contact with an alien civilization." "Do you think they'll be friendly?" Ryan asked. "We have to hope so," Alex replied. "We have 10,000 people who need a new home. Our ship's engines are barely working after 12 years of travel. We can't go back to Earth, and there are no other suitable planets within our fuel range. Jake knew Alex was right. They had burned most of their fuel getting to New Haven. The ship's engines were old and damaged from the long journey. They had planned to dismantle the Wanderer and use its parts to build their colony. Going back to Earth was impossible. Lisa, what? Can you tell us about the alien technology? Jake asked. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, Lisa said. The energy patterns suggest they can manipulate matter at the atomic level. Their cities seem to be built from materials that don't exist on Earth, and Captain, some of their structures are moving through space without any visible propulsion. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. If these aliens had such advanced technology, humans would be like insects to them. How many of them are there? It's hard to say, Lisa replied. But based on the size of their cities, there could be millions of them on the planet. The bridge fell silent again. Jake looked at the faces of his crew. They all understood what this meant. They had traveled 12 years to reach a planet that belonged to someone else. Someone much more powerful than they were. Captain, Ryan. Sod, I'm detecting movement from the planet's surface. Something large is heading toward us. On the screen, a bright light was rising from the planet. It moved smoothly and quickly through the atmosphere, heading straight for the Wanderer. The object was huge, much larger than their ship. Red alert, Jake said. All hands to stations. Alex, prepare your diplomatic team. We're about to meet our new neighbors. As the alien ship approached, Jake wondered if this would be the beginning of a new chapter for humanity or the end of their journey among the stars. The 10,000 colonists aboard the Wanderer had left Earth seeking a better future. Now their fate rested in the hands of beings they had never imagined existed. The alien ship stopped directly in front of the Wanderer. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its surface seemed to shift and change like liquid metal. Strange lights moved across its hull in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Jake took a deep breath and prepared to make history. This was humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. Everything that happened next would determine the future of the human race among the stars. The alien ship hung in space like a dark mountain. Its surface rippled with strange colors that made Jake's eyes water when he looked at it too long. The Wanderer seemed tiny next to the massive alien vessel. Captain, they're trying to communicate. With us, said Kate Phillips, the ship's communications officer. She was a young woman with red hair who had learned 12 different Earth languages. Now she faced the challenge of talking to beings from another world. Put them through, Jake ordered. The main screen flickered and changed. Instead of the alien ship, they now saw the inside of what looked like a crystal palace. Standing in the center was a being that made Jake's breath catch in his throat. It was tall as 3 men and seemed to be made of living crystal. Light moved through its body like blood through veins. When it spoke, its voice was like the sound of wind through mountains. I am Administrator Zenth of the Hegemony, the being said. Its words came through clearly, though Jake wondered how it knew human language. You are the species called humans. You have entered hegemony space without permission. Jake stepped forward. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Wanderer. We come in peace. We are colonists seeking a new home. The crystal being's light grew brighter. There is no peace for those who violate our territory. You have 72 hours to leave this system. If you remain, you will be destroyed. Wait, Jake said quickly. We traveled 12 years to reach this planet. Our ship is damaged. We cannot return to Earth. Surely we can find some way to share this world. Administrator Zenth's form seemed to grow larger. The hegemony has ruled this sector for 1,000 years. We do not share. We do not negotiate with primitive species. You have your warning. The screen went black. The alien ship began to move away from the Wanderer, returning to the planet below. Jake stared at the empty screen, his mind racing. Captain, Alex Stone said quietly, what do we do now? Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They all had the same expression of fear and confusion. Call an emergency meeting. Get all the department heads to the conference room. We need to decide our next move. An hour later, Jake sat at the head of a long table surrounded by his most trusted officers. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's life support systems. Everyone waited for someone else to speak first. Finally, Chief Engineer Maria Santos broke the silence. She was a strong woman with dark skin and calloused hands from working with machinery. "Captain, I need to tell you something about our engines. They're not just damaged, they're completely worn out." Jake felt his heart sink. "What do you mean?" The 12-year journey pushed our systems past their limits," Maria explained. "The main reactor is running on backup power. The fusion chambers are cracked. The navigation computers are failing. Even if we wanted to leave, we couldn't make it to the nearest solar system." Dr. Lisa Park leaned forward. "There's something else. I've been analyzing the data from our brief contact with the hegemony. Their technology is not just advanced. It's beyond anything we thought possible." "Explain," Jake said. Lisa activated a small screen on the table. It showed images of the alien cities on the planet below. "Look at these structures. They're not built from any material we know. Some of them seem to exist in multiple dimensions at once. Their energy sources could power Earth for 1,000 years." Commander Alex Stone nodded grimly. "I've been thinking about that conversation with Administrator Zenth. The way he spoke about primitive species and territorial violations. This isn't the first time they've encountered other civilizations." "What do you mean?" asked Ryan Beck. "I think the hegemony has done this before," Alex said. "They've found other young civilizations trying to expand into space, and they've stopped them." Kate Phillips, who had been quietly working at her communication station, looked up with pale face. "Captain, I've been monitoring hegemony transmissions. I managed to decode some of their messages. What did you find?" Jake asked. Kate's voice was barely above a whisper. "They're not just going to destroy us. They're going to make an example of us. They want to broadcast our destruction across the galaxy as a warning to other species." The room fell silent. Jake felt the weight of 10,000 lives pressing down on him. All those people sleeping in the cargo holds, dreaming of their new life on New Haven. They had trusted him to lead them to safety. "How many other civilizations have they destroyed?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her notes. "From what I can tell, at least 17 different species over the past 1,000 years. Some of them were more advanced than we are." "Then we don't have a choice," said Ben Clark, the colony administrator. He was an older man with gray hair who had spent his life organizing large groups of people. "We have to negotiate. We have to find some way to make them understand that we're not a threat." "You heard what that thing said?" Maria replied. "They don't negotiate with primitive species. To them, we're like insects." "Maybe we can offer them something?" Ben suggested. "Technology, resources, knowledge about Earth." Alex shook his head. "What could we possibly offer beings who can build cities in the sky? They're so far ahead of us that we have nothing they want." Jake stood up and walked to the window. He could see the planet below, beautiful and green and deadly. "What about the people?" "The colonists are starting to wake up. They're asking questions about when they can go down to the surface. We have to tell them the truth," Ben said. "They deserve to know what we're facing." "If we tell them, there will be panic," Ryan pointed out. 10,000 people trapped on a dying ship with nowhere to go. It could tear us apart. Kate looked up from her station again. "Captain, I'm picking up more hegemony transmissions. They're calling for reinforcements. More ships are coming. How many more?" Jake asked. "I count at least 5 more vessels heading toward this system. They'll be here in less than 2 days." Maria pounded her fist on the table. "This is insane. We traveled 12 years to find a new home, and now we're going to die because some crystal aliens think we're trespassing." "We're not dead yet," Jake said quietly. He turned back to face his officers. "We still have 72 hours. In that time, we need to come up with a plan." "What kind of plan?" Alex asked. "We have one damaged ship against an entire alien empire." "I don't know yet," Jake admitted. "But I know one thing about humans. We don't give up. We've survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and everything else the universe has thrown at us. We'll find a way to survive this too. Lisa was studying her scanner readings. Captain, there's something interesting about this planet. The geology is unusual. There are massive deposits of rare minerals that create natural electromagnetic fields. What does that mean? Jake asked. It means their advanced technology might not work as well here as it does in space, Lisa said. The planet's natural properties could interfere with their systems. Jake felt a spark of hope. Keep studying those readings, Lisa. Maybe we can find a weakness. As the meeting broke up, Jake remained at the window, staring down at the planet that was supposed to be humanity's new home. In 72 hours it might become their grave, but he wasn't ready to give up. Not yet, the Wanderer continued its slow orbit around New Haven, carrying 10,000 sleeping dreamers toward an uncertain fate. The Wanderer buzzed with activity as word spread through the ship. Captain Jake Morrison had called a general assembly. All 10,000 colonists gathered in the cargo bays and meeting halls to hear what their captain had to say. Jake stood before the main crowd in Cargo Bay 1. Behind him, the ship's officers waited with serious faces. The colonists looked excited and happy. They thought they were finally going to hear about landing on their new planet. Friends, Jake began, his voice carrying through the ship's speakers to reach everyone. We have arrived at New Haven. The planet is beautiful and perfect for human life. But we have a problem. The crowd grew quiet. Jake could see confusion and worry starting to appear on faces. The planet is already inhabited by an alien civilization called the Hegemony. They have given us 72 hours to leave the system or they will destroy us. Shocked voices filled the air. Some people cried out. Others asked questions all at once. Jake raised his hand for quiet. I know this is not what we expected, Jake continued. But I also know something about humans. We don't give up easily. We've survived every challenge our species has ever faced. We'll survive this one too. An older man in the crowd stood up. Captain, can't we just leave? Find another planet? Chief Engineer Maria Santos stepped forward. Our engines are broken beyond repair. We used up almost all our fuel getting here. We cannot leave this system. A woman near the front called out, What about negotiating with these aliens? Maybe we can share the planet. Commander Alex Stone shook his head. They don't negotiate with what they call primitive species. They view us as insects. The crowd erupted in angry voices. Jake let them talk for a moment, then called for quiet again. Listen to me, Jake said, his voice strong and clear. We have something these aliens don't expect. We have human determination. We have human creativity. And we have something else they've never faced before. Dr. Lisa Park joined Jake at the front. The planet has special properties. Natural electromagnetic fields that can interfere with advanced technology. Their systems might not work as well down there as they do in space. What are you saying? Asked a young man. I'm saying we fight, Jake replied. Not because we want to, but because we have to. This is our new home. We're going to defend it. The cargo bay fell silent. These were not soldiers. They were farmers, teachers, engineers, doctors, and families who had come to build a peaceful colony. The idea of fighting an alien war was terrifying. Chief Security Officer Nicole Reed stepped forward. She was a tough woman who had been a police officer on Earth. Captain, what's the plan? Jake looked around at the faces of his people. We're going to do what humans do best. We're going to adapt. We're going to use our minds instead of trying to match their technology. And we're going to turn this planet into a fortress. Over the next 24 hours, the Wanderer transformed from a colony ship into a military operation. The colonists worked together with a determination that impressed even Jake. Nicole Reed organized the evacuation teams. Families with children, elderly people, and those with medical conditions would be moved to underground shelters first. The planet's surface was covered with natural cave systems that the electromagnetic interference would hide from alien scanners. The caves extend for miles underground, Lisa explained to a group of colonists. The aliens' advanced sensors can't see through the planet's natural interference. Down there, we'll be invisible. Maria Santos led teams to dismantle parts of the Wanderer. They took apart everything useful. Medical equipment, communication systems, food processors, and even the ship's weapons were removed and prepared for transport to the planet. We're going to turn farming equipment into weapons, Maria told her engineering crews. Construction tools into explosives. Communication arrays into jamming devices. These aliens have never faced an enemy that can turn peaceful tools into weapons. Of war, Dr. Park made an important discovery while studying the planet's rocks and soil. Captain, I found something amazing. The rare minerals in the planet's crust can be combined with metals from our ship to create a new material. What kind of material? Jake asked. Something that can deflect energy weapons, Lisa replied excitedly. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. We can make armor and shields that might protect our people. Ryan Beck worked with the ship's computer systems to create detailed maps of the planet's surface. The cave systems are perfect for guerrilla warfare, he told Jake. We can move through them without being detected. Strike at the aliens and disappear before they can respond. Kate Phillips intercepted more alien communications. Captain, I've learned something important. The hegemony has never faced a long-ground war. They're used to destroying civilizations from space. They've never had to fight an enemy that hides and strikes back. That's our advantage, Jake realized. They expect us to stand still and let them destroy us. Instead, we're going to be everywhere, and nowhere at once. The work continued around the clock. Colonists who had never held weapons learned to use the ship's emergency arms. Parents taught their children how to hide in the caves. Engineers showed farmers how to turn water pumps into explosive devices. Ben Clark organized the supply lines. We need to move food, water, medical supplies, and ammunition to hidden storage areas all over the planet. If we're going to survive a long fight, we need to be prepared. As the second day passed, the first shuttles began landing on New Haven. The colonists moved quickly to establish hidden bases in the deepest caves. The planet's electromagnetic interference made it impossible for the aliens to track their movements. This is incredible, Nicole said as she watched families disappear into cave entrances that seemed to lead nowhere. The whole planet is like a giant hiding place. Jake stood at the entrance to one of the largest cave systems. Inside, hundreds of colonists were setting up living areas, weapon storage, and communication centers. Children played quietly while their parents prepared for war. Captain, Maria called out. She was covered in grease and dirt from working on the ship's reactor. I've got the electromagnetic pulse system ready. When we trigger it, every piece of hegemony technology on this planet will be disabled for at least an hour. And then what? Jake asked. And then we fight them on equal terms, Maria replied with a grim smile. No energy shields, no advanced weapons, no floating cities. Just us and them. Dr. Park joined them at the cave entrance. I've distributed the new armor material to all the combat teams. It's not much, but it might save lives. Jake looked up. At the sky, somewhere up there, alien ships were gathering. In a few hours, the 72-hour deadline would pass. The hegemony would come to destroy the human colony. Are we ready? Jake asked. Nicole checked her weapon and nodded. As ready as we can be, Captain. The non-combatants are safe in the deep caves. The fighters are in position. All we need now is the signal. Jake activated his communication device. His voice carried to every hidden base, every cave system, every group of colonists on the planet. This is Captain Morrison. In a few hours, the aliens will come to destroy us. They think we're primitive. They think we're weak. They're about to learn that they're wrong. We didn't come this far to give up now. We came here to build a new home for humanity. And that's exactly what we're going to do. All across the planet, 10,000 humans prepared for the fight of their lives. They had turned a peaceful world into a fortress. Now they would find out if human determination could overcome alien technology. The 72 hours passed like a countdown to the end of the world. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command cave, deep underground, watching the screens that showed the planet's surface. The cave was filled with the quiet hum of human-made equipment mixed with alien technology they had learned to use. "Captain," Kate Phillips said from her communication station, "I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching from space." Jake nodded. He had expected this. The hegemony kept their promises, even when those promises meant death and destruction. Above ground, the sky began to change. Dark shapes appeared among the clouds, growing larger and more threatening by the minute. The hegemony fleet had arrived. "How many ships?" Jake asked. "At least 12 large vessels," Ryan Beck reported from the sensor station. "Each one is bigger than our Wanderer. They're taking positions around the planet." Jake activated the communication system that connected all the hidden bases. "All units, this is Morrison. The aliens are here. Remember your training. Stay hidden until I give the signal." The first attack came without warning. Bright beams of energy struck the planet's surface where the Wanderer had originally landed. The landing site disappeared in a flash of light that could be seen from space. The ground shook even deep in the caves. "They're trying to destroy our ship," Maria Santos said, watching the destruction on the screens. "They don't know we already took everything useful from it." For the next hour, the alien ships continued their bombardment. They targeted every structure the humans had built on the surface. Storage buildings, communication towers, and landing pads were all destroyed. The aliens were thorough and efficient, but they found no humans. The colonists had vanished into the planet's underground maze. "Captain," Nicole Reed called from her position near the cave entrance, "I can see the first alien ground forces landing. They're coming down in those crystal ships we saw before." Jake moved to look at the screens showing the surface. Dozens of alien craft were landing near the destroyed human settlements. Beings in strange armor stepped out of the ships. They were not the crystal creatures like Administrator Zenth. These were soldiers, built for war. "They look like they're made of metal and stone," Nicole observed. "Big, slow, and heavily armed." The alien soldiers moved in perfect formation across the planet's surface. They carried weapons that glowed with energy and wore armor that seemed to shift and change color. Their movements were precise and mechanical. "They're searching for survivors," Jake realized. "They want to make sure they killed everyone." Dr. Lisa Parks studied the alien soldiers through the hidden cameras. "Captain, look at how they move. They're not used to fighting in rough terrain. They expect flat battlefields and clear lines of sight." Jake smiled grimly. "Then let's give them something they don't expect. Nicole, are your teams ready?" "Ready and waiting, Captain," Nicole replied. She had trained groups of colonists in guerrilla warfare tactics. They were hidden in caves and tunnels all around the landing zone. "Begin the first phase," Jake ordered. The attack began with silence. The alien soldiers continued their search, moving in straight lines across the open ground. They did not notice the small holes in the ground that led to the cave. Systems below. The first alien fell without making a sound. A human fighter emerged from a hidden tunnel, struck with a weapon made from ship parts, and disappeared back underground. Before the other aliens could react, "What was that?" one of the alien soldiers called out in their strange language. Kate had learned enough of their speech to translate. "Unknown," another replied. "Sensors show nothing." The second attack came from a different direction. A group of 3 aliens simply vanished into the ground when a hidden trapdoor opened beneath them. Their companions searched the area but found nothing. "This is impossible," the alien commander said. "The humans are supposed to be dead." Nicole's voice came through Jake's earpiece. "Captain, their armor is tough, but their joints are weak. We can take them down if we hit them in the right spots." The guerrilla attacks continued for hours. Small groups of humans would emerge from the caves, strike at the alien soldiers, and disappear before reinforcements could arrive. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy they could not see or predict. "Their weapons are powerful," reported Tom Wilson, one of Nicole's team leaders. "But they're designed for fighting in open space. In these narrow tunnels, they can't use their big energy guns." Jake watched the battle unfold on his screens. The aliens were becoming frustrated and confused. They had expected to find human survivors cowering in the ruins of their colony. Instead, They faced an organized resistance that struck from the shadows. "Captain," Maria called out, "the aliens are calling for reinforcements." "More ships are landing. Let them come," Jake replied. "The more soldiers they put on the ground, the more targets we have." Commander Alex Stone had been leading raids on alien communication equipment. His team had learned to use the aliens' own technology against them. "Captain, we've captured one of their communication devices. Kate is learning their military codes." Kate Phillips worked frantically at her station. "I'm getting pieces of their communications. They're confused and angry. They keep asking their commanders what to do about an enemy that won't stand still." To be shot. The battle continued through the night. The aliens brought down more soldiers, but the humans remained invisible. They struck and vanished like ghosts, leaving the alien forces fighting shadows. "This is not how battles are supposed to work," Jake heard one alien officer complain through the intercepted communications. "The enemy should stand and fight, not hide like insects." Dr. Park made an important observation. "Captain, their energy shields don't work well in the electromagnetic interference, and their advanced sensors can't track us through the planet's natural static." Their technology is their weakness, Jake realized. They're so used to depending on their advanced systems that they don't know how to fight without them. As dawn broke over New Haven, the alien forces were scattered and demoralized. They had lost dozens of soldiers to an enemy they could not see or understand. The humans had suffered only a few injuries. "Captain," Nicole reported, "we've captured alien weapons and armor. Our people are learning to use them." Jake looked at the screens showing the surface. The alien soldiers were grouping together in defensive positions, afraid to spread out and search. They had come to destroy a helpless human colony. Instead, they found themselves under attack by an enemy that refused to follow the rules of war. "Phase 1 is complete," Jake announced to all the hidden bases. "We've shown them that humans don't die easily. Now we prepare for Phase 2. The alien commander's voice came through the captured communication device. "Request immediate reinforcement. The humans are not behaving according to standard combat protocols. They appear to be everywhere at once." Kate translated the response from the alien fleet. "Reinforcements denied. You have superior technology and numbers. Eliminate the human resistance immediately." Jake smiled. The aliens were learning their first lesson about humanity. Humans did not fight fair. They fought to win. "All units," Jake said into his communicator. "Excellent work. The aliens are scared and confused. They thought this would be easy. They're about to learn that nothing about fighting humans is ever easy." Deep in the caves, 10,000 colonists prepared for the next phase of the battle. They had drawn first blood against an enemy that had conquered the galaxy. Now they would show the hegemony what human determination really meant. The alien reinforcements arrived like a storm from space. Captain Jake Morrison watched from the command cave as dozens of new ships appeared in the sky above. New Haven, the hegemony was no longer treating the human resistance as a small problem. "Captain," Kate Phillips said, her voice tight with worry, "I'm counting 47 new vessels. They're 3 times larger than the first wave." Jake felt his heart sink. Through the hidden cameras he could see the sky darkening with alien ships. Each vessel was big enough to carry thousands of soldiers. The humans had won the first battles, but now they faced an entire army. "They're really angry," Ryan Beck observed from his sensor station. "These new ships are military vessels, not the exploration craft they sent before." The new alien commander's voice came through the captured communication device. His tone was cold and furious. "I am War Leader Krex of the Hegemony 4th Fleet. The humans on this planet have embarrassed our forces long enough. I am authorized to use any weapons necessary to eliminate them." Dr. Lisa Park looked up from her geological scanner with fear in her eyes. "Captain, they're deploying seismic weapons? They're going to try to collapse the cave systems." Jake felt the weight of 10,000 lives pressing on his shoulders. The families hiding in the deep caves trusted him to keep them safe. Now the aliens were bringing weapons that could bury them all alive. The first seismic attack hit like an earthquake. The ground shook violently, and dust fell from the cave ceiling. Jake heard the distant rumble of rockfalls somewhere in the tunnel system. "Damage report," Jake called out. Nicole Reed's voice crackled through the communication system. "Cave System 7 has partially collapsed. We're evacuating people to deeper tunnels. No casualties yet, but we're running out of safe places to hide." The seismic attacks continued for hours. The aliens were systematically trying to destroy the entire underground network. Each weapon strike was precisely aimed to cause maximum damage to the cave systems. "They're learning," Commander Alex Stone said grimly. "They've figured out that we're hiding underground, so they're trying to bury us." Maria Santos worked frantically at her engineering station. "Captain, the deeper we go, the less communication we have with the surface teams. If they force us too deep, we'll lose coordination between our forces." Jake watched the tactical display that showed their remaining positions. The red dots representing alien forces were spreading across the planet like a disease. The blue dots showing human positions were being pushed deeper and deeper underground. "How much deeper can we go?" Jake asked Lisa. "Not much further," Lisa replied. "The tunnels become unstable below this level, and the electromagnetic interference gets so strong that our equipment stops working." Kate looked up from her communication station with panic in her eyes. "Captain, I'm intercepting alien transmissions. They're bringing in atmospheric processors." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "They're going to change the planet's air to make it poisonous to humans," Kate explained. "They plan to force us out of the caves by making the surface uninhabitable." The room fell silent except for the distant rumble of another seismic attack. Jake realized that the aliens had found the perfect strategy. They would make the planet itself into a weapon against the humans. "Captain," Nicole's voice came through the communicator, "morale is dropping. People are scared. The children are crying, and some of the adults are talking about surrender." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. He thought about all the people who had trusted him to lead them to a new life. Instead, he had led them into a war they could not win. "Sir," Maria said quietly, "I have an idea. It's dangerous, but it might be our only chance." Jake opened his eyes. "Tell me." Maria activated a holographic display that showed the planet's electromagnetic field. "Remember how I said we could use the ship's reactor to create an electromagnetic pulse? Well, I've been thinking about it differently." "How so?" Jake asked. "Instead of just disabling their technology temporarily, we could amplify the planet's natural electromagnetic field permanently," Maria explained. "The aliens use dimensional rifts to travel between systems. If we disrupt those rifts while their fleet is here, we could trap them in normal space." Dr. Park's eyes widened. "You mean cut them off from their home territory?" "Exactly," Maria said. "No reinforcements, no supplies, no way to escape. They would be stuck here just like we are." Jake felt a spark of hope. "What would that accomplish?" "It would level the playing field," Maria replied. "Right now they have unlimited resources and reinforcements. If we trap them here, they become just another army on a planet, and we know this planet better than they do." Alex Stone leaned forward. But what about the reactor?" "Someone would have to manually activate it from inside the Wanderer's wreckage. They wouldn't survive the explosion." The room became quiet again. Everyone understood what Maria was suggesting. It would require someone to sacrifice their life to give the rest of humanity a chance. "I'll do it," Maria said simply. "I designed the system. I'm the only one who can guarantee the timing will be perfect." "No," Jake said firmly. "I won't ask anyone to die for this plan." "Captain," Maria replied, "you're not asking. I'm volunteering. This is what I came here to do. To help humanity build a new home. Sometimes building something requires sacrifice." Jake looked around the room at his officers. They all had the same expression. They knew Maria was right. "What about the people in the caves?" Jake asked. "How do we coordinate the attack if all their technology stops working?" "We use the old-fashioned way," Nicole said. "Signal fires, message runners, and precise timing. We did this for thousands of years before we had radios." Lisa studied her. "Planetary scans. If we time it right, we can launch simultaneous attacks on all their ground forces while their ships are disabled. Without their technology, their soldiers become just another army. Kate nodded. I've learned enough of their language to understand their tactical communications. Once their systems go down, they'll be as blind as we are. Jake stood up and walked to the cave entrance. Outside, he could hear the distant rumble of seismic weapons and the sound of alien aircraft. Somewhere up there, enemy forces were preparing to poison the air his people breathed. How long do we have? Jake asked. The atmospheric processors will be online in 6 hours, Kate replied. Once they start, we'll have maybe 12 hours before the air becomes unbreathable. Jake made his decision. Then we do it. Maria, prepare the reactor. Everyone else, get word to all the hidden bases. In 6 hours, we either trap the entire alien fleet on this planet, or we all die trying. Maria began working on her equipment with renewed energy. Captain, this is going to be the biggest electromagnetic pulse in galactic history. Every piece of advanced technology on this planet will be fried. Including ours? Jake asked. Including ours, Maria confirmed. After this, both sides will be fighting with whatever weapons they can hold in their hands. Jake activated the communication system one last time. All units, this is Morrison. In 6 hours, we're going to fight the final battle for New Haven. We're going to show the hegemony that humans don't give up, even when the odds are impossible. Across the planet, 10,000 humans prepared for the most desperate gamble in their species' history. The countdown to humanity's final gamble began with Maria Santos walking alone through the dark tunnels toward the Wanderer's wreckage. She carried a small device that would manually trigger the ship's reactor core. Behind her, 10,000 colonists, prepared for the battle that would decide their fate. Captain. Jake Morrison watched Maria's progress on the few working screens in the command cave. His heart was heavy knowing that he was sending a good friend to her death. But Maria had insisted this was the only way. Captain, Nicole Reed reported from her position near the surface, all combat teams are in position. We're ready to attack. The alien ground forces as soon as their technology fails. Jake nodded. Around the planet, groups of colonists waited in hidden positions. They carried weapons made from ship parts and alien technology they had captured. When the electromagnetic pulse hit, both sides would be fighting with basic weapons only. Kate, Jake said to the communications officer, any word from the alien fleet? Kate Phillips listened to the intercepted transmissions. They're getting impatient. War leader Krex is demanding faster results from the ground forces. The atmospheric processors are almost ready. Dr. Lisa Park monitored her geological scanners. Captain, I can see the energy building in the planet's electromagnetic field. When Maria activates the reactor, the pulse will be enormous. Through the cave's hidden entrance, Jake could see alien aircraft flying overhead. They were searching for any remaining human positions. Soon they would poison the air itself to force the colonists out of hiding. Maria's voice came through the communication system. Captain, I've reached the Wanderer. The reactor core is still intact. Give me 10 minutes to set up the manual trigger. Take your time, Maria, Jake replied. We'll wait for your signal. Commander Alex Stone had been studying the alien positions through captured surveillance equipment. Captain, when their technology fails, their soldiers will be cut off from their commanders. They won't know how to coordinate without their advanced communication systems. That's our advantage, Jake agreed. We've been practicing old-fashioned warfare. They've forgotten how to fight without their machines. The minutes passed slowly. Jake could hear the distant rumble of alien vehicles and the sound of seismic weapons still trying to collapse the cave systems. The hegemony was throwing everything they had at the human resistance. Captain, Maria's voice crackled through the communicator. I'm ready. The manual trigger is set. When I activate it, you'll have exactly 1 hour before the electromagnetic field stabilizes. 1 hour to defeat an entire alien army, Ryan Beck muttered. No pressure. Jake activated the planet-wide communication system for the last time. All units, this is Morrison. Maria is about to make the ultimate sacrifice for all of us. When that pulse hits, we come out fighting. We show these aliens what humans can do when we're backed into a corner. Ready when you are, Captain, Maria said. There was no fear in her voice, only determination. Jake took a deep breath. Do it, Maria, and thank you. The electromagnetic pulse began as a low humming sound that seemed to come from the planet itself. The humming grew louder and higher until it became a shriek that hurt the ears. Then suddenly everything went silent, every screen in the command cave went dark. All the lights shut off, the communication systems died. Even the simple electronic devices stopped working. The pulse had been so powerful that it affected everything with circuits or processors. Emergency lighting only, Jake called out. Battery powered. Lanterns began to glow in the darkness above ground. The results were immediate and dramatic. Alien aircraft fell from the sky as their engines died. The floating cities crashed to the earth with thunderous impacts. Energy weapons became useless. Metal sticks. The mighty hegemony fleet was suddenly as helpless as the humans they had come to destroy. Move out! Nicole's voice carried through the tunnels without need for electronic amplification. Across the planet, human fighters emerged from their hiding places. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Aliens who had conquered star systems found themselves fighting hand-to-hand combat with colonists, using farming tools as weapons. The technological advantage that had made the hegemony invincible was gone. Jake led a group of fighters toward the main alien command post. They moved through the forest using hunting skills their ancestors had learned thousands of years ago. The aliens, meanwhile, stumbled through the wilderness like lost children. They don't know how to navigate without their computers, Alex observed as they watched alien soldiers walking in circles. They've forgotten how to read the sun and stars. The fighting was brutal but brief in most areas. The aliens were not prepared for close combat. Their armor was designed to stop energy weapons. Not the crude but effective weapons the humans had created from ship parts. Nicole's teams captured the atmospheric processors before they could poison the air. Dr. Park's group secured the crashed alien cities. Kate Phillips and her translators began communicating with alien prisoners who seemed shocked that the humans were not killing them. Their surrender? Jake asked when Kate reported this. Many of them are, Kate replied. They've never lost a battle before. They don't know what to do. The real victory came when Jake's team reached the main alien command center. War leader Krex, the mighty hegemony commander, sat in the ruins of his crystal palace. His armor was cracked, his weapons were dead, and his communication with the fleet was gone. You are the human leader, Krex said when he saw Jake. His voice was no longer filled with arrogance. I am Captain Jake Morrison, Jake replied. I accept your surrender. Krex looked around at his destroyed command center. How did you defeat? US, we have conquered galaxies. We have destroyed civilizations more advanced than yours. Jake smiled grimly. You forgot something important about humans. We don't fight fair. We fight to survive. The battle for New Haven ended with the human flag flying over the alien command center. The cost had been terrible. Maria Santos was dead along with many other brave colonists. But humanity had won its first interstellar war. In the days that followed, something unexpected happened. Other alien species, ones that had been conquered by the hegemony centuries ago, began to rebel. News of the human victory spread across the galaxy through captured hegemony communication networks. Captain, Kate reported 2 weeks after the battle, we're receiving messages from dozens of different species. They're all asking the same question. How did you defeat the hegemony? Jake stood on a hill overlooking the growing human settlement. Below him, colonists worked alongside alien prisoners to rebuild what the war had destroyed. Children played in the ruins of alien war machines. Tell them the truth, Jake said. Tell them that freedom is worth fighting for. Tell them that no enemy, no matter how powerful, can defeat people who refuse to give up. The alien fleet remained trapped in orbit around New Haven, their dimensional rift technology permanently disabled. Some aliens chose to join the human colony. Others waited for rescue that would never come. Ryan Beck approached Jake with a report. Captain, the colony is stable. We have enough supplies to last years. The alien technology we've captured will help us build better equipment, Jake nodded. And the children? They're adapting, Ryan smiled. Human children always do. They're already making friends with some of the young aliens. As the sun set over New Haven, Jake thought about Maria's sacrifice and the price of their victory. The hegemony had been right about one thing. This was humanity's first interstellar colony. But they had been wrong about it being the last. Far across the galaxy, other species were learning that the age of hegemony domination was ending. The humans had shown them that even the mightiest empire could fall to people who refused to surrender their freedom. New Haven was no longer just a human colony. It had become something more important, a symbol of hope for every species that dreamed of freedom among the stars.